Hello, educators. I know you have guessed it right this time. Oh, yes, it is Analysis Thursday, just one day before the end of the teaching work week. And so we come in to check on what has happened during the week, to see how we have been utilizing the tips given on Strategy Sunday, and how it is that we are positioning ourselves for leaders in the classroom, being reflective, and also to align our students for success. On Sunday, we had such an informative and awe-inspiring session with Mrs. Marsha Russell. The tips were doable, it was timely, it was just what we needed at a time like this to help us to think practical, to think doable as we transition from the physical setting to the virtual setting, and how do we utilize authentic or alternative assessment to position our students for success. And so for Analysis Thursday, there are just four takeaway points, four analysis points that I would really like us to zoom into, to look at, to think about, to ponder on, and how we can use it for the future. The first one is that for online learning, we have to dig a little bit deeper for authentic or alternative assessment. What do we mean by that? It is no longer in a physical setting that we're in. And so we have to think about the guidance that we give to the students, the type of assessment tasks that we will give to the students to bring them to the level that we need them to help them to understand the concept. And so the guidance will be different, the tasks they will be different, and the expectations are also going to be different, because we have to now match it to the context of online learning as opposed to when we would have been operating in the physical setting. And that is clear and straightforward. The second analysis point that I would like to look at is that the tasks that we're giving to our students, they should be at the higher level, the higher order thinking skills. They refer to them as HOTS. It should be at the higher level where it is promoting critical thinking for our students. Because most times when we utilize the taxonomy is our guide. And so when we use the taxonomy, we must remember that we have to take the students up to the last three tiers of the taxonomy, because that is where you really want them to be. It is all about the four C's, and one of the C's is critical thinking. We must be able to get our students to think critically as they perform these tasks that we give them to do. The idea, as Mrs. Russell made mention, is to see how well the students understand the concept, how well they grasp it. And so you cannot use the lower order thinking skills to see how they have grasped the content, how they have understood the concept. It has to be at the higher level. So they're thinking a little bit deeper. They're also thinking higher. You're bringing them to a higher level of reasoning so that they can be able to understand and solidify the concept points that you are bringing forward to them. Also, what stood out for me is the fact that we have to help our students to do what? We have to help them to do what? We have to take care of their needs before they can bloom. And so it is important that we think about the compassion. We exercise care. We think about their needs as well as we are giving them the assessment task. What would be the sense of you giving students an assessment task that we know that in their context they don't have access to these things? So we have to think about their needs first, right? Taking care of their needs before they can bloom, before they can learn, before they can grasp, before they can understand. So all this plays a critical part as we plan our assessment for our students. That is very important. The third task is that the third analysis point rather is that we should cater to all the learners in our classroom. We cannot be just looking at the tactile learner or the kinetic learner. We have to think about the different types of learners that come before us in our classroom when we are doing our alternative assessment. We have to meet the learners at their needs, and that we have to use what they have to teach them and what they love to teach them. So Mrs. Russell made mention of the students are now into TikTok a lot. I see a lot of my students on TikTok, they were doing their thing. And so when you come to the classroom, you want to keep that momentum. You want to keep their learning and the processing of the brain information. We want to keep it at the top. We want to keep them engaged. And what better way to do it than to incorporate what they love into giving them an authentic task? Just last week, I was speaking with a colleague with from another, a colleague, teaching colleague. And she made mention of using TikTok for herself to bring across some content points and also get the students to do a little TikTok video on the content or on the concept that she would have done with them in class. And this is something that is, to me, it's phenomenal, because if you can take what they love to teach them content, that stays with them forever. I always say to individuals, I enjoy home economics. Why? It was something that I saw in my home. My mother, she sews, she bakes, and she does other tasks around. And in those times, you could relate to it, because I used to have to be able to sew on the buttons for her when she made a blouse for someone, or even for me, I had to learn how to hem and so on. So it was relatable to me. So I took home ec as a love. And so this is what I did at teaching college. At teachers college, because it is something that I love. I saw it in my environment, and I saw it as something that I would excel at, and I am trying each day to outdo myself as I go along. So you have to use what they love, educators, to teach them and to help them when you give them these authentic tasks. The final one is that Mrs. Russell mentioned, less is more, short and spicy, doable and exciting. Educators, the laborious task that we give in the classroom, or tasks that we give in the classroom, it's a thing of the past. We have to make learning fun. We have to make it short, to the point. We have to be analytic and strategic in what we do with the students, because at some point they have a learning curve, and at some in the classroom, and at some point we all know that they have their interest levels. And so if we take them outside of their interest level, if we take them outside of what their brain can store and utilize, it makes no sense. So it is always easier to do it short, to the point, spicy, learnable, doable for them, and the next class you take up and you continue. So the same thing should apply when we do our authentic assessment. Make it something that is fun and interactive for our students, so that they can be their best at what they do. Educators, this is Analysis Thursday. I am Karla Boswell-Lewis, Director for Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where we are on a mission to empower you educators. I'm sure you know by now that I'm going to say to you, educators, if you love this video, go ahead and like it. If it is something that you would want to get more information, you want to get more information like this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. You can also share this content with a colleague, a parent, anyone who is interested in learning about authentic assessment and how we utilize it as educators in the classroom. And if it is something that you would want others to know about, tell them about the channel and ask them to subscribe, to sign in. We are all educators, and we are in this together for the long run to benefit our students. And please, as usual, keep the comments going, keep the feedbacks coming, so that we know just how we are reaching you. Thank you so much, educators, and please look out. We'll be having an intensive training session on April 7 and 8 on brain-based learning. That advertisement will be coming soon. And see you on Sunday, where we go live as we look back at authentic assessment and what is it that we did. For the month of April, we'll be focusing on technology. See you then. Continue to support us. Continue to give us your feedback. Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, on a mission to empower you, educators.